and welcome to another episode of Friends with Manners on Rogers TV. I'm your host, Lorraine Peters, and today I have some amazing guests with me to dive into another topic related to modern living. And nothing gets more modern than, of course, as COVID-19 continues to drone on. So I have three ladies to help us talk about first, what are we experiencing when we're out there in the world dealing with people in ordinary situations? And let's face it, everybody seems to be anxious and stressed and on edge and losing their cool. And then so these girls have some very unique perspectives on that question. And then I'm going to cycle back and ask them, what can we do, or what do they do to remain civil and be mannerly and nice to other human beings? So stay with us, enjoy the discussion, and I'm going to start by introducing each of my guests individually before we start the conversation. So Heather LeBlanc is from Dieppe, and Heather is the director with the Canadian Physique Alliance and a bodybuilding and fitness show promoter, the largest one in Atlantic Canada. We have Jen Smith. Jen Smith is from Oromocto, and she is the founder of the Truth Movement Women's Coalition. And then we have Jennifer Power Scott, author, singer, and mom living in St. John. Thanks, ladies, for joining me. I am really excited to hear what you have to say about this topic. So without further ado, I'd like to start with Heather LeBlanc. Heather, the question I have for you is, what have you observed as we have started into this second wave of COVID-19? What has been your most poignant experience with how people are acting and reacting and treating other people at this time?
Honestly, I think that we're all in the same boat. I think there's a lot of frustration. I think it's a lot of the fear factor going on. A lot of people don't know what's going to happen in the future, and I think that scares us. When we're thinking about our future and where we're going to go next year, or where we're going to travel, what shows I'm going to promote. There's just so much unknown out there, and what it does, it causes a lot of anxiety, a lot of pressure. It tends to have people very, stressed, and a lot of mental health issues. And, that's where people start to, lash out. They start to become a little bit more rude, I guess. But, I choose, to wake up in the morning and be a positive person. So, we all have choices in life, right? And even during a pandemic, when John and I wake up, we choose to be positive. We choose to be hopeful and tolerate, the situation going on, and be more understanding. So I guess we all have a choice to make, and, just try not to be a miserable person, just be kind. So that's what we try to do as a couple, in the fitness and bodybuilding industry. So that's what I notice a lot, is a lot of fear and a lot of unknowns. So I guess that's the best way to answer that question.
Yeah, and a couple of things, I picked up on a couple of things you said, because I agree with you that what seems to be causing a lot of the anxiety and stress is the unknown. People don't know what is going to happen to them or around them next. And, everything that we've ever known about, in the past doesn't apply anymore. Everything we've ever done as ordinary, as going to the grocery store, is no longer ordinary, right? You have to sanitize and wear the mask and stay apart from people, follow the arrows going into the store and down the right lane. Like, everything is just so hyper stressful situations. Before we move on from you, Heather, I do want to ask you, with the big show that you just did here in Atlantic Canada, and you do it every year, so just very quickly walk us through. I want to know how the athletes responded under that very stressful situation, because I know I've done competitive bodybuilding 2 times. I know that you train hard, you work hard, you invest in yourself, and you have it timed out down to the day and the hour of when you will compete. So walk me through what happened, and I want to hear how people reacted.
I think it's like any sport. all athletes have a training period or have a, a prep period to prepare for when they embark on this event or this journey. And, they were here in Moncton on Friday. They were ready to register for the show on Saturday at the Capitol. They were all tanned. They were, eating their dial-in, I guess, meals. They were cutting their water. So, it was a process. So when that process got, I guess, flipped right upside down, and we did a 360-degree turn when the province had announced that we were turning to the orange level at midnight. So that actually canceled our event. And we found that out on the media. And that's another thing that we should touch on later, is about how the media also puts a lot of fear and a lot of uncertainties in all of us. So when that came out, I guess adrenaline just took over, and my husband and I just said, we have to find a way to make this happen. We can't disappoint almost 100 athletes and tell them that they need to go home and the show's canceled and everything's done, your training's done for the year, and we'll see you next year. Like, we had to come up with a plan B. So fortunately, we had an app on the phone that you can download that sends notifications and alerts to the athletes. We immediately got on the horn. We started telling them, wait, don't panic. We're trying to figure this out. So we managed to call the Delta board, the Delta Bonjour in Moncton, and thankfully we know the owner or one of the managers there, Mario Chiasson, and we were actually able to convince him, and we had to wait for a lot of authorizations and phone calls to hold the show in the ballroom at the Marriott. So we actually had a stage already in the ballroom set up that's already there. So all we had to do is shift all of our registration stuff over to another building, which is across the street. And we told the athletes, we said, we're going to make this happen. We're doing it. We're competing tonight. There was not one complaint from one athlete. They just wanted to compete. They didn't care if it was in a barn. They didn't care if it was in a tent. They just wanted to get on stage and just showcase their work.
Amazing. Yeah, I love that. Okay, Jen Smith, I want to move on to you. Jen, share with us what you're noticing. I want to know, in this short kind of window of time that we've been in the last few months, what have you noticed most about people, their behavior, their responses to otherwise ordinary situations? What has been your take on it?
Well, like Heather, I've noticed a lot more just frustration, impatience. I don't think any of us are immune. We all have to work on ourselves every day. And I think she touched on an absolute crucial issue about mental health issues. I believe this pandemic has, well, not just I believe, I think, it's pretty much proven to cause those with mental health issues it further exasperates those issues. And with there's even more, issues with people that have never had any previous mental health issues in the past. So, I was traveling to St. John on Sunday or Monday night, I'm not sure, with my granddaughter and my son, and experienced a really terrifying road rage from a transport truck driver. And I'm sure there were a lot of witnesses on Highway 7. Like, it was just right out of this world. Like, anyway, he was like pulling up beside me, trying to push me from one way to the other on either side of me. It was really, really scary. And I just never seen such a road rage or experienced that ever in my life. And to have it happen with I don't know how many thousands of ton vehicle that is, it's a bit concerning. And, I didn't get any information because I was so concerned about just staying on the road and keeping us safe. But definitely I find people are, meaner online. They're more apt to lose their cool more quickly. And, I think the solution is more mental health help. more resources, and making sure we self-care and take care of ourselves every day, and reach out and keep our circles of people that are a good support for us.
Yeah. And I think you touched on the people being more mean online, and I've witnessed that as well. And, I try to think that otherwise really good people are just stressed and reacting out of that need to express their stress and anger, and they just sort of lash out, at these posts online and stuff that, ordinarily maybe they would never do. So I try to take that into consideration when I'm dealing with people. I teach modeling students and self-improvement. And I can't even tell you, on the weekly now, I have so many more instances of girls, parents saying she can't come to class, she's too anxious, she's too stressed. And so I'm noticing a huge uptake recently with young girls, preteens and teens. Yeah.
Everybody has a breaking point. Everybody has a breaking point. And, this, it's taking its toll on everybody. And, like somebody, I think Heather said, we're all in the same boat, kind of, but not really, in ways, with the feelings and associated and family and whatever, financial resources and help, and, access to, health plans for mental health care, or physical health care even, the distance and the mask, like it's just such a dramatic change for people to adjust to. So very much agree with what Heather had to say.
It is, and younger people, or I guess anybody, we don't have anything to compare this to. So nothing comes up in your toolkit that says, oh, okay, in this situation, it would make sense that if I do this, I'll be okay. We don't have any of that. This is so new. And, everybody has different levels of resilience. And like you said, Jen Smith, everybody has different amounts of stress they can handle. And isn't that what stress literally means, is a pressure that you break under. That's what stress is. And everybody has a different stage in which they just snap. The stress becomes too much. The load becomes too much to bear, and you snap. So before we get finished, we'll come back around and talk about how you guys really hold it together and continue to be civil and mannerly. So Jen Power Scott, let's switch over to you. So I know you have a unique situation as well that you just went through. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about my dear departed dad, Phil Power, great Newfoundlander, great man. He passed away at the end of August. I'm so grateful, Lorraine, that the Atlantic bubble had started just weeks before that. So I was able to go to Newfoundland and be with him in the hospital. I was able to go to the funeral. So incredibly grateful for that. I can't even describe how fortunate I feel. I think one thing that I want to talk about too is how people act in the funeral home. People want to be warm, kind, sympathetic. They want to express their condolences. There are signs in the funeral home saying, express your condolences from a safe distance, right? I think some people, though, they think that they're just going to go ahead and hug anyway. They're going to shake your hand anyway. I had people wanting to shake my hand, people hugging me. What happens is that it's enough to deal with the death of your loved one, but then when you have people who are ignoring the safety rules, your stress is multiplied. So I was there in the funeral home, feeling quite anxious about that, but particularly because my mom is 87 and, in the more vulnerable group. So I would just say to people that if you're going to express sympathies, do something like I saw one woman, she said to my mom, I wish I could hug you, right? And that was the right thing to do. I wish I could hug you. And I'm so sorry. I wish we could get closer. So just remember too that the people who are bereaved, they're getting the hugs at home from their bubble people, from their close family. So that was something that really struck me this year. But I have to say that overall, I think people here in New Brunswick, I think people are pretty cool. I think people are doing pretty well in terms of politeness. Yeah. I'll tell a story quickly that really boosted my spirits and my kids' spirits the other day. I sent them into the superstore in Rothsay with a $50 bill, and they lost it, which is fine. They were upset. I said, that's fine. I'll call the store later, just in case someone turned it in. Well, you want to know something? Someone turned that in. And my kids were elated and beaming, and it was such a great Thanksgiving because of that. So yeah, sure, we're seeing people going up the aisles in the wrong direction. I'm seeing people who are frustrated, but for the most part, I think people are pretty decent around here, and I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful my kids are seeing that, and I think there are other parts of the world where people are a lot more aggressive and frustrated and inconsiderate. I'm grateful to be here, and I tell my kids, both teenagers, that they're lucky to be here right now. This is one of the safest, best places in the world to be right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I just made some notes when you were talking, Jennifer, because, what we focus on expands. Whether we're focusing on negativity and lack and everything people are doing wrong, or whether we're focusing on, like what you said, the kindness and generosity of people that you're seeing and how fortunate we are to be here in this part of the country. So what we focus on expands. And Heather, you said it as well. You can wake up every morning and make that choice, that fork in the road where you say, I'm choosing to be grateful, to be happy, to be civil, to be nice. It is a choice, right? Regardless of how tense things get, it is always a choice in how you respond to it, right? Yeah. So I want to cycle back around with each of you. I want you to just, give a nugget, because I don't want to just talk about, the problems in this time. I want to talk about what would be a nugget of something useful that my audience can say, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to try that before I go to the grocery store the next time. What's something that you use to ground yourself, to remind yourself to be patient and civil? And I'll start with you, Heather.
Honestly, I think we need to learn how to adapt. I think that's a very tough thing for people to do, adapting to change. And this is the new normal. This is change that we have to, come to terms with. For me, myself, personally, when this COVID all hit, we ordered a complete gigantic home gym for our basement, because we are now in the orange level, so we don't have the luxury like St. John or Fredericton to be able to go and work out every day, and that is our passion, right? That's our stress reliever. That's what makes us happy. That's what gives us hope, right? So we have our gym in our basement. My husband and I go down, we do our workout. We're working out hard. We're joking around, and that's how I deal with a lot of stress and anxiety, and that's how I decompress personally. So I think that's very important, because you're taking care of your health, taking care of your physical health, your mental health, and I think that's probably one of the biggest, benefits of, if there is any benefits of COVID, that has to be number one for me. And also, I get to work from home. I'm a teleworker, and my husband's retired. He's been retired since 2014. So I'm not retired because I'm too young. So to be home, just working away with just his presence in the home is I'm very fortunate. I'm lucky. And I enjoy, adapting to this new way of living in this new normal. So hopefully that answers your question.
It does. That was very helpful. I heard in there how important it is to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Jen Smith, why don't you walk us through, when you think about how you handle situations and what you do to calm yourself, or to share with us what you do.
Well, all cards on the table. I've been very upfront about having mental illness myself. First experienced it just in 2019 for the first time in my life, and had up and down periods. So I have been having, I have counseling, and I have a very good support system from my friends and some of my family. What I do, what like feeds my soul to get me through, is the roles that I play in activism for women's rights. I, you know, was sat on the lawn and with other fine individuals to support Clinic 554. So I ran in the election on September 14th because I feel that it's important that we have more women in positions of power. So the things that I do and chill with my girls, they're the kind of things that I need to do that feeds my soul by helping others. And I've really been open about mental illness because I believe that it's important for us to break that stigma and for us to talk openly about it in order to work through it. And self-care is very important in whatever way that looks for you. It's different for everybody, but I'm very cautious to keep my the circle around me very supportive, and no room for unsupportive people. That's what I have to do.
Yeah, so much of what you said, I'm just nodding and agreeing. And what I should have said was, not only what do each of you do to make yourself more calm and mannerly and civil when you're out there in the world, but also that it's okay if you happen to have been one of those people that have been not so civil or lost your cool with somebody, because you know what, we're not perfect. And I can actually attest to, I'm not somebody who comments on a lot of social media stuff, but just last week I was reading about an athlete in a different sport than bodybuilding, but and he was very unhappy and blaming people on this uncontrollable situation, and he needed to be training and I commented and said, you're acting like a spoiled brat. That is not something that I would normally do. And afterwards I questioned myself on it, and I thought, why did I even bother posting that? That wasn't nice. It's not something I would typically do. And I did a little bit of soul searching on it, because I realized that I was acting out of some level of stress, and that was not okay. And so it is okay, Jen. You're absolutely right to not be okay, and to know that you might be suffering mentally with all of this, and you need your friends, and you need to protect yourself from people who are not your friends or good for you. So all of that self-care is so paramount right now. And I hope that if people hear one thing, that they hear that, like Heather said, physical fitness is so important, and you're saying take care of your mind and know who and what nourishes your soul. We can't go through this complacent. We can't go through this just gliding on the top and not really soul searching, because we've got to find a way to be happy during this time, even if you have to break it down to, I woke up and I'm still breathing. Start there. Like, we've got to figure out how to maintain resilience during this time, because we just might be in, lockdown again, right? So Jennifer Power Scott, let's flip over to you.
One thing I keep thinking, Lorraine, is that on top of dealing with the pandemic, we still have to deal with the rest of the stuff that goes on in life, don't we? So I've lost my dad this year. I have been through another personal crisis in the spring. I have another relative who's in a health crisis. Sometimes it feels very heavy. And last night I was awake for 3 hours. And in the middle of the night, it can seem so much worse, right? And a lot of people are going through insomnia. But for me, I guess what I really believe in, I believe in trying to make peace with things we can't change. My dad taught me that you've got to accept things that we can't change and try to make the best of it. So that's what I do. And I also believe in finding whatever it is that works for you as an individual. I say, as long as it's healthy and legal. So Music. So yesterday I was very blue. Got in my car, was going up the street, and a song I like came on. It's by Backstreet Boys, right? And suddenly felt the goosebumps because I like that song so much. And I feel like even if you can get 2 minutes of feeling better, sometimes it counts for something. So I dance a lot. That's always so healthy in so many ways. Listen to music, enjoy. It's really savor things like nice food or a glass of wine, being with my kids, being with friends, just trying to find a peaceful acceptance in this and making the most of it. And as you said, I think, Heather, just the positive attitude. But that's not easy, is it?
Yeah.
Night at 3:00 when I was lying awake in bed, that wasn't easy at that moment. Now I feel much better. I think a lot of us are going up and down like that.
Yeah, you're right. So we're going to wrap up here in a moment, but you're right, Jennifer. It's not easy. And one thing I would hope that my audience takes away from all of your girls' wisdom is that it might not be easy, but just spend a little bit of time focusing on it and make an intention every day to just be the best and the kindest that you can be, because ultimately we really are all in this together in whatever forms that takes, but we're all on the same journey together. So I couldn't have handpicked a better panel for this discussion. You're not only all beautiful, but so aware of yourself and what's going on in your lives. And I want to thank you very much for doing this with me. And from all of us here at Friends with Manners, I hope to see you all again, and be nice to people. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.